Hi everyone, welcome to I'm Recruiter. I'm your host Prafula Deori. I'm Recruiter is a community created by and for talent acquisition professionals. Our vision is to build a leading global community for TA professionals, and our mission is to help 100K TA professionals grow from traditional recruiters to a trusted talent advisor. And if you like our podcast today and feel the content is useful, please support us by liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on our channel. With this, I would like to invite our guest. So today we have Kiran with us. So about Kiran, he has 17 plus years of experience and wealth of knowledge and experience in end-to-end recruitment. He is currently making waves in his new organization, and his impressive resume includes stints like Deloitte, Dignity, Liquid Hub, and Winwire. Kiran not just worked through, but he is also like a fun person. So I asked him like about his past. So he mentioned during his college days or MBA days, he used to go out with friends and without making any plans and all. So he was kind of a travel person, I would say, and he definitely miss traveling uh, currently because of the job and other reasons as well. So with this, Kiran, welcome to I Am Recruiter. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward for a fruitful discussion, and we know that you have a great amount of experience throughout your recruitment journey. Audience would love to know about your experience.
Thanks, Praful. That was a great intro. And thank you so much. And I think it was fun connecting with you. I think we are part of multiple groups, been interacting with you, and it's great initiative. As I said earlier, I really like the idea of yours in empowering TA community, which is very important and need of the hour with a lot of challenges that we face. And at the same time, I think networking is key for everyone in TA. That I'm a very strong believer of networking, and that's how all the journey has been. So thank you so much. With that, I introduce myself.
Sure.
As you all know, this is Kiran, and I'm born, brought up in Hyderabad, a localite, I would say. And I have been working in just a few months back. I've just joined, and early that I was with Deloitte, Signity, Liquid Up, as you mentioned, and with Winwire. So I started career with as a US IT recruiter, right? Back then, it was in night shifts, and we used to support all tier one organizations, and it was fun. It was all different ball game. When recruiters now in domestic has no clue on how does US staffing goes and what are the key challenges that they have, and they do have interesting challenges. So that's how it started, and I started off in 2006, ending in recruitment and continuing so far. So that was by chance, but my choice was always, towards teaching. I was a tutor teacher in Hyderabad for about 5, 6 years, right from my college days, plus two. So that connected me recruitment so well that it's also a part of empowering talent, right? It's also nudging careers, I would say. You help people build careers through either teaching or recruiting. So I think that made me to have that passion towards recruitment, and here I am.
Sure, sure. So welcome to I Am Recruiter once again. So
Thanks.
since you have mentioned about Hyderabad, we have lots of guests already have visited us from Hyderabad, right? So
Yeah.
I definitely love talking to people about Hyderabad food and other stuffs and all, right? So what is the most happening thing for you in Hyderabad since you were born and brought up in Hyderabad? So what you like about Hyderabad?
Right from the language that we use, right, till the food that you get, or the culture that we follow, or the diversity that you see, all of its own kind. It's a different experience altogether. I've been to Bangalore, I've been to Delhi, I've been to Kolkata. I can't stay anywhere more than 3 days. I get homesick on fourth day. So I don't know, for some reasons, because I love spending a whole lot of time in Hyderabad, and each corner of the Hyderabad I've already explored since childhood, and lots of great memories. So I cherish every second that I spent in Hyderabad. That's what I would say.
Sure. So let's say someone recently relocated to Hyderabad. So what are your suggestion for him or her? Like, what are the things they should definitely do in Hyderabad?
Nothing in general. There is no big to-do list. All that you need to do is to have find a good company. When I say company, your friends or the family that you take help in terms of finding some places. But otherwise, rest all is taken care. Hyderabad takes care well of those who are coming to Hyderabad, and in terms of food, the culture and all is so accustomed that people doesn't have to worry about it. So I don't have any big list. All that I would say is don't get frustrated, or don't be in a hurry in finding some places. You will have ample chances, and then uh, have suggestions. Have take one or two advices, but again, don't trust anyone just like that, just like any other place.
Sure. So I recall while you are talking now. So
Hmm.
once in 2015 or 16, I went to Hyderabad. So there was some hiring event on weekends. Then after weekend events got over by 6, 7 o'clock, I called my
Hmm.
friends and they invited me to their home, right? And around
Wow.
midnight, 12, 1, after having food and all, they uh, asked me, "Do you want to have ice cream?" So I told yes. And in midnight they ordered ice cream and it was there for you, right? So that was kind of very uh, great experience for me. Even though I was from Bangalore, I didn't order anything in the midnight, but that was great experience though.
So
Great.
when you come to
So
Hyderabad next time, I'll ensure to take you to a place in that night and then have ice cream live instead of an order.
okay, sure, sure, sure. Great.
Yeah,
We are anyways visiting to Hyderabad for our meetup, which is happening on 31st of August. So it's happening in T Hub in near High Tech City. So looking forward to all our audiences, even you, in
oh
our
yeah,
meetup session, and definitely looking for more fruitful conversation in personal and as well as networking with lots of TA folks like you and me, right? So
definitely.
welcome everyone to our meetup session. Great. With this, I just wanted to know a little bit more about your background, Kiran. Right? So, what was your qualification background before you started your career in talent acquisition?
So firstly, I want to rule out a myth that people used to have, that talent acquisition needs to have MBA as a qualification. But if you look at me, I am a total different. I'm a Bachelor of Mathematics. After my graduation, I started recruitment and then realized that MBA could add value. And then I've got my MBA after 4 years of work experience, where I was already a manager leading a team, and then worked on my entrance exam here in local exam, which we call as ISET. That's for MCA and MBA, and I got a beautiful rank where I can choose college of my own. So I've handpicked a college where you would get some scope of leverage for working men, right, working students, and then that's how I got my MBA, and that added value more in terms of how do you ensure fine tune yourself and add value there. So I'm a BSc and MBA combination professional.
Great, great, great. And just wanted to understand a little bit more. So, how were you? Because you have mentioned that BSc in mathematics. So, since you
Yeah,
were more interested toward mathematics, then definitely I believe you are very much focused in calculation and algebra and other stuffs and all, right? So, how was your
yeah.
love for studies overall?
Nothing beyond mathematics. So I
Okay.
have written one of the examinations at least for a dozen time, right? So any other subject that you give me apart from my mathematics, I used to struggle, and I still struggle. Uh, so I started loving that subject, Praful, since the school days, and while in college days as well, I started teaching the same subject to the juniors, where I used to have my own ideologies, my own approach, and my own techniques. So I used to ensure I give some takeaway to juniors. Even now, I sit with kids and help them understand how can they have some tricks, be it Vedic maths or be it some quick calculations or be it some techniques in trigonometry or something like that. But again, it's been a 20-year gap that I can't have that in-depth subject knowledge. But yes, basics are still with me.
I can definitely relate. some of these things because when I was a student in my school days, I was kind of
Mm.
a below average student, I would say. Then, but even I was not very much fond of maths at that time. But in class A, there was a teacher, right, who like changed everything for me, right?
Oh yeah.
And I
Mm.
fell in love with maths as well, right? The way he explained the stuffs were totally different. Initially, it was
Exactly.
like all numbers, and it was very tough subject to understand as well, right? And I used to get scared, right? But
True.
somehow that interesting fact which he used to involve in maths and teaching and everything, we fell in love. And till date, I can definitely relate that maths is one of the thing I still love. I
Great.
haven't done much of maths after my MBA days, I would say, but still I believe this is a great subject.
Yes. So, as I said, this is all about one of my friend who had got great passion towards that subject, and I used to bother him, trouble, and learn, and then I used to go and explain to her. So we used to cater that techniques to larger folks, so that people get that interest. And then back home, I used to teach my sisters the same. I've got two younger sisters, so I used to torture them with that techniques.
so so when I was studying right in school days, right, my mom dad used to come and tell every time we come to your room, you are doing maths. What other subject are you going to fail in those
So
subject?
that's yeah, that usually happens. And as I said, that made me struggle with other subjects.
I
So
can
that
relate.
was
I
fun.
can relate.
Yeah, that was truly
Great.
fun. College days were fantastic. Yeah.
Yes. So how did you get that passion of teaching students? How did
This
you
made
started
me
teaching?
get yeah. So while in my intermediate itself, so I used to see a lot of. So I'm from a area, Praful, where this was it was just beside one of the very small place in Hyderabad where it was not so sophisticated thing, and uh, community was not seeing a lot of educated folks around us when I say, but then we used to ensure that we are getting good tips from those who are from the community, are well educated or already doing their graduation, and or in the engineering. And engineering was fascinating academic at that point in time. The one who is with a BE BTech tag are like a you know treated specially. So that's the category that they had back in 2000s, right? When so slowly I developed that interest in connecting with people, getting tips, and sharing tips. And then I thought, by teaching, maybe I can also start earning, right? So that
Yes,
that triggered, that commercial aspect triggered, and then I went into home tuition. So I used to be a home tutor in Hyderabad in famous localities. So I used to go after college. I used to study in Narayanguda, and then all surroundings were education hub. So I used to pick up a couple of homes after college, straight go teach. So that's how it started.
nice. Nice. Uh, And how was the experience when
That
you
was
see someone is
amazing.
feeling good about your teaching? How was the experience?
After 17 years, Praful, I'll tell you a greatest memory. I was working in Deloitte. Me and my friends were hanging for a cup of chai. One of the person was staring at me in lift, and I was also staring at him, thinking we have seen each other somewhere or we are connected with somewhere, right? I'm with a beard, with a different hairstyle, go gray, and he's also become big. He was my student. When he
Okay,
realized and recognized me, that was one of the memorable day that I would say. So he's still in Deloitte. He was my student.
okay. Great to know. Great to know.
Yeah.
And definitely, you mentioned about BTech. I did my engineering though. You
Mm,
did your MBA. I did my MBA. We still are working as a TA, right? So education
true.
factor till certain terms, I would say, make some sense. But after that, like it's all about like your learnings, how you utilize those things and all, right? And how you connect the dot of your interest, right?
Exactly, Praful. So whenever I get an opportunity, I go to the local schools, government schools, and try spending some time in ensuring that they wanted to get that right career counseling that is more important in today's generation. Most of the uh, folks who are at grade 10, might not be aware that there are multiple opportunities that they can still pursue and then reach their goals. Let me somebody wants to get into philosophy and do a doctorate. They don't have to be a techie guy. They can still pick up, some arts and arts education, right? You can go for commerce. There are a lot of other things. So you got to spend time, and that's when it's like interaction. Through interaction, we are also empowering others. So recruitment also has that connecting dots, helping folks
Yes.
to pick up the right company, pick up the right role, get into a right job, and then enjoy the career.
Yeah. Yeah. And post your like graduation, how did you start it in talent acquisition? Like, what was the story behind Kiran?
Honestly, again, I had to forcibly quit teaching, but again, even until 2012, that means 6 years I was a recruiter cum tutor. So I had
Okay.
overall 9 years of teaching experience, out of which 6 years of recruiting experience, and in that I've also done my MBA. So I never left that. I was doing night shifts. Since I was in night shifts, I used to get two sessions, one in the night and one in the morning after this thing. But I was getting strained, right? So I didn't want to leave that, but I couldn't balance both. So I thought traveling and both at a time is not feasible enough, and then let's part ways and say goodbye to teaching and then focus more on career recruiting, because this has got some other passion, and I my interest levels turn towards this, and which is also helping people understand, it's like, we are becoming a liaison between the uh, opportunity and the talent. So we are the talent mapping professional. So this was ultimate. So I really enjoy now. If I look at back, uh, both were great. Both were great professions, and I still respect this one, recruitment, as nothing less than a teaching, or we are, especially at some uh, generations.
What inspired you to become a TA person? Like, what, like after BAC, you thought of doing something else. Definitely, teaching was there, but
Yes.
how do you did you enter into talent acquisition?
So Praful, I was offered. I was a campus hire in Wipro in my
Okay.
graduation days, but I couldn't clear one subject. Right, so I'm a failed BSc grad, but
Okay.
I was topper in mathematics. I was the whole topper
Okay.
in my section, but I couldn't clear that, with which I lost Wipro. I
Okay.
lost Wipro in 2006, and then I
Okay.
realized that, having not excelling in one of the subject and calling ourselves as a tutor doesn't make sense. So that's how
Yes.
I wanted to pick up something which will help me build my career, at the same time continue my passion, which is switching into a part-time teaching role. And then that's how I had been referred by one of my senior. Again, he's close friend of mine and senior, and then he was into talent acquisition. When I sat with him and just over a coffee, and then understood that this is a role that we can also make career, then I've picked it by chance, and then within no time I just got into it and liked it very much.
Yeah. So one thing I definitely like to call out here is thanks to you for mentioning about your failure, because not
Oh
many
yeah,
people talk about the failure, right?
yes,
Some or the other way people shy to talk about failures, right? Even
exactly,
I was also failed in class 7 once, right? But some or the other way, like because of those failure, you learn lots of things, and you become much more stronger person, right?
exactly,
So
Praful.
like what was your learning from those failures, Kiran?
If people ask me, I do get to interact with a lot of people, and when somebody asks me what is your biggest failure, I don't think there is any other biggest failure for me than losing my first job, right? And that too for a brand. There was a program called WAYS, Wipro Academy for Software Excellence. That was the first batch in Hyderabad, and I was the second person in Hyderabad to get selected from my college. And then eventually, you have seen a huge success on the right side, and the other side of the coin, it flipped, right? You were focusing only on one subject, you didn't
Yes.
focus on the other subjects. It resulted in losing a career, which is like most hurting and biggest failure. But then I never lost my hope. I never lost my confidence. I kept working on my areas of interest. I shifted my interest. That's what you need to do. I've focused on my shift, where somebody helped me, somebody trusted me that you can make career in recruitment. And by chance, I came into recruitment, and within no time, I got that passion and excitement, all the energies that I've lost, that were lost, has regained. And then I was one of the successful recruiter in US staffing. Trust me, I went on to build a company with a mentor support. I was a director of an organization. I was also in charge of operations. So that has also given me another success, right? Which
Yes.
my failure couldn't stop me working on it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
uh, as you know, night shifts for longer period are not advisable. And there was family pressure again, because to get married, right? And back those days, I remember there's a funny incident that nobody wants to get alliance for a night shift person who's working.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we can't tell that there is an industry called recruitment industry. People would still call me that he's working in a call center. He's doing a telecalling job, which doesn't bother. So I had to thought carefully and then shifted to domestic market just because of the family situations.
Okay. Okay.
Then I'm continuing in India recruitment for about 12 years now.
Sure. Sure. So, since we are talking about failure a little bit more, I wanted to understand uh,
Oh yeah,
the reason why I'm trying to focus on this topic, because these days, after 10, 12, students take too much of pressure, right?
exactly.
Because of
Yes.
their uh, graduation stuffs, right? Because of the entrance test and all those things. And like, what I want to know is like, is it really so hard that you have to get into those big, like tier one colleges? Is there no life without tier one colleges, right? So what you take, or what your suggestion, like, can they take life bit more easy, bit more stress free, right? Because what we have seen, that because of this stress, many uh, mishappen things might have occurred to different students in different places, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
there are many things there available for you, so don't think that this is the end of your life, right? This is the failure happening to you, right? There are many success stories behind the failure. So what suggestion you have for these kids or these students?
This is a brilliant question, Praful. I think this is one of the key pain point that I personally feel when I see students not uh, not keeping their confidence and strengths, easily giving up. Right? I am a candidate who will never give up, who never gave up so far. Even if I fail today, I just get time to relax. I go and meet my friends. I relax. I forget this day. I start tomorrow again. So you always have to hope for tomorrow, and that's something that I've been trusting. Right? I am a strong believer of hope. Even if you're losing today, there is nothing that you're losing. It's just some time that you're losing. Unfortunately, you can't bring that time back, but you can set things better in coming time. So you always have to have that constant hope, continuously hoping for the best, and at the same time put your efforts. It's not that just sit and try differently, but you have to just put your efforts. You might fail a number of times, but you can again bounce back. And as Sachin's fan, I always believe that failure cannot stop you. You can also make a double century at close to retirement age. So we never know. When you have
Yes,
long
yes.
time to go, you just have to keep moving, and keep moving is a key for anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, yeah. And like, even I forgot her name. Who is this wrestler who have just failed from the Olympic medalist? Just a second, I forgot her name.
We just Yeah, it was Nishit. Yeah, I'll have to Google it. Even I forgot.
Yeah, yeah. Think what I was trying to bring into picture. Even like big successful sports person do also fail in certain
Yeah,
times,
yeah,
right? Even though they are in the top of their career, they might fail as
exactly.
well, right?
Yes,
You never
exactly,
know, like, about your luck, about the timing and other things. Those things are not in your control. So what is in your
exactly.
control is your effort and your mind and
Effort.
other things, right?
Exactly, exactly. You just have to keep yourself motivated. And why do I believe very strongly in hope is you have to hope that tomorrow can be a brilliant day for you, and keep
Yes.
working. For that, you need to be cheerful, you need to be confident, you need to have that right energy to start the day. Again, you might fail tomorrow end, but you got to regain your energy back. You got to have that same enthu levels back regained. I keep telling my teams or my colleagues or my friends, you just have to keep moving with a strong hope, and at the same time work on those areas where we can. And we still have to learn a lot. Life is very short, but it has got more time to try differently, to learn more, and keep continuing your learning. Because I know I strongly remember when Wipro's interview, I think when I was preparing, there was a blunt question: why should I hire you, or how do you think you're a good fit for these roles? I remember I gave a statement when your cash is good, you can make a lot of cash. Now, what is cash? It starts with KASH, which is my father's motivational word. You got to improve your knowledge. You got to develop good attitude. You got to enhance your skills, and you got to create good habits within yourself that leads to cash, right? So you can make your career. So always work on your knowledge improvement, no matter what, whether you're failing, whether you're succeeding. Keep that aside, keep learning. And where will you learn? In recruitment, we keep meeting a lot of candidates, a lot of hiring
Yes,
managers, a lot of folks. I see that what is a takeaway that I can do, I can get from a candidate. And there are lots of candidates whom I have hired have become good friends to me, and we are still connected. We hang out. There are certain times that uh, hired candidates and me had spent some good time, right? So this is something that
sure.
recruitment gives us at this point in time.
Sure. So, can you also tell a little bit about your US recruitment background? Because there are
Yes.
not many recruiters might know about like how to enter into like recruitment in US or US hiring processes and all, and what are the challenges you might face if you opt for US recruitment, because since you have experience in US hiring, so it's we just wanted to understand your point of view as well.
See, I think now there are a lot of channels to enter US staffing. You have got LinkedIn as a platform where you're seeing a lot of job opportunities. But when we started our careers, I think it was more of referrals, right? You don't have major job postings or many things coming on your way, but it is more of the job postings that you see referrals referring you for the existing posts internally. So the biggest challenge at US staffing is certainly be very confident and have that good communication skills, maintain that good neutral accent, right? You don't have to create a whole new accent for yourself. You'll be get caught. So I have never ever tried using accent. I always speak slowly and then try to make them understand. But you got to be very confident with your tone, the pitch that you're using. So US staffing enhances person's recruitment skills with better communication skills, because you would never get a chance to look at the candidate. You would never get a chance to see a candidate. There were no video discussions back then. It was only a phone
Yeah,
call,
yeah,
and even a voice message matters, right? When you're handling US citizens, the voicemail for a citizen, we used to ensure that we are leaving a crisp, clear, and cutthroat voicemail in just 45 seconds to 50 seconds. We would not, it should not take more than 1 minute. They wouldn't like to hear more. In that, you got to create your pitch, you got to create your content, you got to write down your voice message or create some draft. So a lot of learning. Your staffing gives you good energy levels. It creates it makes you a good recruitment professional, because the ball game is different. You got to beat competition. It was always about beating competition. And how do you beat competition? You got to improve your quality. How do you improve your quality? You got to learn your new sourcing techniques. How do you learn sourcing techniques? Is continuously connecting with recruiters. So that's how I started connecting with recruiters. Whenever we hang out in any caves for a cup of tea, we used to talk about sourcing techniques. We used to talk about Boolean strings. We used to attend a lot of webinars on Boolean searches. That's how I learned X-ray search, or trying to find people through various techniques. There was a tool called Jigsaw. I don't know how many of folks have used. We used to get contact numbers using that. So there, I mean, you just have to explore yourself. to become better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh, in one word, it's not as challenging as it was. It has become easy. All that you need to do is you need to be very confident when you're in your staffing. At the same time, you got to improve on working on yourself. You have to keep working on improving your sourcing techniques. Otherwise, you will be get beaten up. So
Yeah.
there's heavy competition.
So, in US market, right? When you were working in US market, so what kind of sourcing platform you generally use there?
So we used to have traditional job portals there, right? And again, Dice, Monster, and Career Builder. Earlier it was Corp to Corp, but now I think it's now TechFetch, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So these were the traditional techniques, and again, we didn't had LinkedIn recruiter account, but we used to send emails using recruiter account of someone's from US account. We used to have one sharing it. I think that's when LinkedIn become little strict in cutting down those sharing models. So we have exploited those LinkedIn loopholes back then in the initial days. But again, connect with them, help them understand about the role. Put that in, again. That description has to be crisp, clear. You got to put that in your introduction message, and then connect with people.
And
So
what kind of pay structure? Let's say someone is entering into a US market recruitment industry as a
mm.
fresher. So, what kind of salary structure he or she can expect?
Honestly, since a
Roughly,
decade, I'm not. Roughly, it should be at least 3 lakh per annum. It should be
okay, okay.
because back
And
days, I
does
think
they
when we
have any
started,
kind of
it was.
incentives?
Oh yes, US staffing specialty is to have incentives, right? You place a candidate, you get certain amount, and you place a candidate on a contract, you get recurring incentive, right? So
Okay,
that is more fun. So that's the reason I said the one who wants to continue in US staffing is someone who is already excited, who's got to have that energy levels. You got to start the day with confidence and then beat the competition just to make extra money at the same time.
I
Your
totally
quality
agree.
gives. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. In recruitment, definitely your voice, how you talk, how you
Yes.
speak, how do you express, definitely
Yeah.
make much bigger impact, right? It's not
Very
only
true.
US market, even in India, when we are talking
Correct.
to someone, anyone can vibe what kind of energy level you are, right?
Oh
So
yes.
there are many multiple instances where I was like kind of low in my energy and I was not able to convert those candidates, right, with the interest, right, because
Yeah.
they vibe the sense, right, and where
Correct.
I was with good mood, good energy, and I can pass that energy level to the candidates.
Very true.
Great, great. So you started your first organization. So how long you stayed there, and what is the name of that organization?
So I started with a company called CES, right? It was more of a recruitment school. So we used to have trainers who used to teach recruitment. I was completely fresher, not understanding anything. So good that I've got some great mentors, and then right from basics, right? They just fine tune you, and then they polish your communication skills. They make you a recruiter in just 30 days, and then you're on floor. And for us, I
Oh,
think it was
nice.
just 15 days of training, and then you're hitting the floor. And for us, we were also it was an RPO industry, and we were billable recruiters, right? So we used to bill customers for our seat, and then that's how we started that. So I spent about good 6+ years, close to 7 years, profile in US
Okay,
staffing.
okay, okay. So post US staffing, like post your first organization, which organization you joined? Was it again
So
a
I have
US staffing or you moved to
no.
some other?
So I have after US staffing, I've completely decided to get into India hiring, and then
Okay,
I had a very good friend who and me have started same on a same day of recruitment, and he went on with the domestic right after 1 year, and then he referred me to his own company, and I used to report to him. I used to work under him, though we were very close friends. I didn't hesitated in reporting to him, and that's how I spent. I joined Liquid Hub. I spent about close to 5+years, 5+years roughly, and then I started my India journey. So I
so
was
how
reporting to my good old friend, but we
so
never ensured that nobody will knew the background that we were friends. On floor, we are not, but outside we are
okay,
good
okay,
friends. So that's how we
okay.
maintain.
So I have two questions here, right? So how was the transition from a US market recruiter to an domestic recruiter? Like how was the journey? How was the transition? Was it difficult? Because India market is different, US market is different. The people way of communication, the people attending interviews, expectations are totally two different games, right? So how was your journey experience and all?
I knew that Indian market has some challenges while I was in US staffing. Like the challenge, there's no big challenge than your notice period or the way you handle your highest notice period candidate. So that's the biggest challenge because it can give you any surprise any moment, and you got to be prepared to see surprises and then tackle and see how do you shift gear. So, but I was really blown away with the kind of talent that we were seeing in Indian market because I think now it is better. We are in a better shape with a lot of tools and all. But back then, I think a lot of proxy. We used to see different kind of experiences right from round one of interviews. Right, you talk to one person, but you're seeing the other person in the interview, and then the music starts. So we are not sure of what are those surprises to deal with. All that you need to do is you just have to believe yourself and ensure that all eyes and ears are open and you are very diligent and cautious. So I think those are the two things which your staffing will be missing. You don't have to be that cautious because it's not bad to say that they've got a lot more genuinity, right? People don't try out weird means in getting jobs in US, especially with citizens. At least, I mean, we didn't had that experience, but back then, I mean, maybe because as you rightly said, people are hesitant to say I have failed. People cannot openly express that I could not crack the interview. It is still in the current society that there is no harm in saying that I failed in this interview, but people wouldn't want to say, and unfortunately sometimes recruiters have to take that heat, right? The candidate knows that his tech skills are not that extent or he's not that hands on with that particular technology. He knows that, but despite he would just go and honestly say that recruiter did not give me a feedback or the business did not do a feedback interview well, or maybe the panel was not fair. So such things you get to see. There are a lot of challenges. Recruitment for me is uh, a handbook of challenges where you can't define that this particular challenge can arise at this point in time. So for us, all that we need to do is we need to have a good thought process on how do we handle the candidate and how do we face the critical situations and how do we solve problems. So you got to continuously think for a better route instead of going into a root cause analysis. Just try and see how quickly we can solve and get to a win-win situation.
Yep, yep. Totally agree. So, what was one of the biggest challenges you have faced here in India market?
So it was backouts, right? Your joining percentage. In US staffing, if I place 10 candidates in a year, I would have 9 joiners there. So you have 90% joining ratio. When you shift to India market, back of mind, maybe I was thinking that I'll have the similar joining ratio, but again, I was blown away to see I had joining ratio of 30%. So where
Okay.
it's totally a different experience. You offer 10 candidates and you see 7 candidates declining them, seven different reasons, and you got to work on those 7 skill set again where you have already done some good research, spent great amount of time. You have to revisit and work. So that's the biggest challenge. Then you have to change gear. You cannot work with the same pace that you have worked earlier. You got to speed up. You got to act fast, and you got to close with a better notice period, and you got to handle that candidate better, and you got to ensure this time the candidate joins. And the biggest challenge that I have seen is I have failed again to have a second candidate onboarding on one position. So I had to work on that same position for the third time. This was the biggest and the toughest phase that I've seen in recruitment, right? For the same position, your 3 offered candidates did not join. So what else you do? So
So
I
how
used
how was your motivation level at the time?
that's that I was just about to say I used to forget uh, those days, right? You just have to forget and you just have to buy time with the business. So now here comes how do you ensure that you're building confidence, you're gaining trust from your panels. But at the same time, again, as you know, business is business. You'll have escalations. You'll have to also get into the conference room, and when you come out of the conference room, you got to have that same confidence as a recruiter that you're gonna hit the job board again. You're gonna find the best candidate, and you're gonna offer them with little more speed. So you got to again put your top speed, move faster, and try again. But honestly, I've seen good success, and business recognizes sometimes, and you will be rewarded for the same, because business also
Yeah.
knows this is something with talent problem, right? End of the day, we're all dealing humans, and you never know what surprises happens, and you never know which person comes with what experience and can give you a different experience. So
Yeah.
talent acquisition on the whole is a game of learning. You got to learn
So,
a lot of things.
so have you faced any situation, any kind of hiring manager who is kind of very pushy in terms of pushing things around you, right? Because even though like it's not your fault, right? Even though you have tried everything from your end, right? In the end, all the blames come to a recruiter, right? So
Yes.
have you faced any kind of situation, any kind of stakeholder who is kind of bit, I would say, not very go to with the recruitment team?
Yes. To be very honest, I've had sleepless nights with the stakeholders. So it's not just giving you some blame, but it's like pushing you to an extreme corner where you'll feel pressurized, right?
Yeah.
And when you go home, you will still think of what has happened in the office. So I have faced a lot of days. There were multiple days, but again, the beauty of our profession is, Praful, even if we meet today, we keep laughing at those days now. After this, after a
Yes.
decade,
Yes.
we just met in one of the occasion, and I just told the same that a decade back you gave me a sleepless night. Now we are sitting together and having some fun. So it's all about business. Again, they are also helpless, but at the same time, what kept me moving was my confidence, my energy levels that I start my day, and the trust that I have in self. So I used to have a lot of self belief, right? I used to say when I was a hardcore recruiter, I used to say that you give me any role on the planet, I'm here to hire you, get a candidate for you. So I can hire any role. You give me anything and anywhere. So I was that confident. So again, these are all the challenges that you got to deal with, but at the end you got to be very subjective to your thumb rules in recruitment. You cannot compromise on few things, and eventually you will see success. So there'll be definite instances where you'll fly with colors. You come out of with great accomplishments and all those accomplishments, and then I came out of that instance and I went on to hire some great candidates, great talent. I was there for 5 years. I helped firm build some good practices, and I've made a lot of friends in that stint.
Great. So after that, you move and join your new organization, or like,
Yes. So after 5 years, I mean, it was actually acquired by Capgemini. Now it's a Capgemini organization. So with that integration, I thought I'll have to take a career forward, and looking at the progression, maybe I have to move to a managerial level. So from then, I moved on to Winwire, where I was heading the recruitment for Hyderabad and Bangalore, and I was there for about 3 years, and then joined Signity, and then moved on to Deloitte. Again, Deloitte, I had to explore just because of the dream that I had to explore Deloitte after Wipro, right? It again took me to college days because one of my friend was in Deloitte and he's still in Deloitte. 16 years, he's still there. So I wanted to work with him for some time, and or I had a similar dream that you got to work in Deloitte, and I had taken a non-IT role in Deloitte, where all the 15 years I was in a tech hiring. So that's how the journey continued, and all the roles, right from my US staffing first job until Deloitte, was all through referrals. I've never got a job, anything by a portal or a recruiter except RSM.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
that's how the whole journey went.
So what's your biggest learning like from your whole career in recruitment you want to share with anyone who is just starting their recruitment journey, like from your
To,
past 17 years?
to be a successful recruiter, you got to have that self belief, right? That's the first rule. And second is never forget few things which are very essential to build and get the talent, right? As a recruiter, we know what to do, and we shouldn't compromise or take a side track to just reach the goal faster, or just get things done quicker, or to convince somebody. No, you got to stick to your basics. You got to stick to yourself. You got to believe yourself and keep moving. You will have to learn and become better. So becoming better is what I have learned. So if you look at my journey, I have seen a lot of ups and downs, but today if I see myself, I've become better than yesterday, and I will become better than today, tomorrow. Continue that cycle. So all recruitment
Sure.
professions have to aim one thing, that we keep becoming better and find better talent.
That's true. That's true. That's true. So it's been we have been talking about work and other stuff. So let's make it bit light. So I have some rapid fire questions for you, Kiran.
Oh,
Right. So
okay.
it's basic question, nothing anything specific and all. So what's your favorite book? Like, do you love reading any books and all? And if yes, what's your favorite book?
That's a fantastic question. I had to answer this. I had a friend who used to read multiple books, right? When I was in a shift of transition from US staffing to day shift, I used to have a friend who was very fond of books. And as I said, apart from numbers, mathematics, I have never read any book in my life. I have never, even reading newspapers, I used to read headlines and then switch back to sports and see if there is any news on Sachin or not. If there is no news, then close the paper. So that's how my whole reading experience was. And then I wanted to start reading. And I asked my friend, what's the best book that I can buy? And she said, Alchemist is the good book that you should start your reading career. And then I bought it through Amazon, and I had read for 15 days for 15 with 15 pages. I have closed that book, and I have just opened 15 days back after my second kid was born. So I'm very, very poor in reading. So it's been a decade that I have that book. I didn't complete. So my wife pulls my leg that I should gift that to my son after 10 years. So I'm hoping that I'll complete that in next decade. So
So
I'm very pathetic.
even I am not very good with readings and all, but during my college days, somehow I managed to read Chetan Bhagat's Two States and all those romantic kind of books and all, right? So college life and all. So those books I
I
have
have
read.
7 books now. I have 7 books with me, all purchased, but I'm thinking that after Alchemist only I'll complete those 6. So I'm hoping to complete sooner, but not sure.
Sure, all the best. So you will definitely do good. Okay. So next question, rapid fire question I have for you is top
Yeah,
skill a recruiter should have.
attitude.
Okay, great. Even I agree with that, right? All skills and everything can be taught
Yes,
to any person if you have the right attitude, right?
yes.
If you are a topper and if you are a good employee, but if you don't have the right attitude, it's very difficult to manage a team member like that, right? And
So I'll
you
add
being a
on one or
manager, yeah,
yeah.
you being a manager, you definitely understand to manage different team member. It's very difficult to manage, right?
So just to add that, I had a privilege of finding an offer for my friend who was a topper of my batch, and then I helped him build his career, and now he's one of the toppest position in one of the good decent organization.
Great, great. So you are a morning person or a night owl?
Mixed.
Okay. And what's your favorite place you would love to travel?
Goa,
Okay. And you are a tea person or a coffee person?
both. If you have an option 3, I can select that also.
Okay. So any dream company you would love to recruit for in future?
I've already completed that. So Deloitte was only dream. I've fulfilled it.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. So moving apart from rapid fire question, general question for you, Kiran. So what you'd love to do when you are not working,
Spend time with friends, hang out with friends, and talk nonsense.
but how do you manage with your kids and with your wife?
Yeah,
How
this
do
is
you
another
manage the
challenge.
time? Because
So this is another challenge that we are facing personally. Again, as I said, we got to deal challenges. So I'm trying to deal this challenge. So rather than cutting it down, we are cutting the down time, meeting time, and we are also uh, restricted our going out or getting those challenges from home. So we are ensuring that we are doing a calculated meetings
Got
to
it.
avoid
Got
all
it.
these risks.
I hope everyone has the similar kind of risk at home,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
That's
trying to
an I
understand,
said
great, great. So world is talking about AI in recruitment and other
yes.
things, right? There are lots of tools and technologies these days. You can see in and around HR, in and around recruitment, right? So what do you think about AI, right? How AI is evolving? Do you think it might impact the recruitment industry?
For me, I look at AI as a disruptive technology, one of the disruptive technology that we have seen. But yeah, having said that, this is the common doubt that majority of our folks have. At some point in time, even I had the same doubt, and I had that fear factor. And as you said, we have these meetups. I used to engage with a lot of TA hub meetups and all. And I remember asking this question myself to one of the leader in the industry. Said, I'm a recruiter, and now I'm only solely using my own search string. And what if AI gives the search string and takes away the sourcing part? That's what exactly has happened today. Uh, the LinkedIn Gen AI will give you constructive boolean for you readily available, and you're not writing anything. So I was a recruiter where I was writing 32 keywords on my own. But now you don't have to do it. You just have to just guide it and get the result. There is a shift positively, and at the same time I haven't seen anything drastic happening or nothing that we should have that scary feeling about. All that we need to do is, again, as I said, just use that for making us better, and keep learning using AI. I'm using it for my content. I was told that your English was not good. You can't write good contents when it is a bigger content, and I started learning it. And even now, I put my content in AI, compare, and I don't copy paste, but I just see how do we fine tune my things. And when I'm writing an email, or maybe there's no harm in taking that help to make you better. That's what I am doing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
seeking
yeah,
AI help to become better, because unfortunately I couldn't read books, and then it's AI is easy. I'm loving AI now. So
yeah.
I would say that love AI, become better. That's what I am
Yeah,
doing.
I totally agree with you. Like, adapt with AI, which is much easier. And if we
Yes.
try to restrict AI, then it might be a tough challenge, right?
Exactly. Exactly. We must have to adapt to AI, because the kind of search I was also trying and playing with the search strings on LinkedIn. It was amazing. It was good. And Naukri also eventually went on to have AI included in their search engine, right? Which is all automatically popping multiple tools, multiple prompts. When I was a recruiter, I used to I still remember I used to draft search strings in my notepad. I used to see, and I used to save strings in my notepad, and uh, now I think it's like your wild card. So you have to use it. There is no other option. You have to use
Yeah.
it, but at the same time, just can't be a dependent and become a stagnant just because of it.
Yeah. So, but only one question or one doubt which I have is, right. So, if we try to break down the recruitment altogether, right, we have starting from creation of rec, right. Once the rec is
Mm.
created, we
Yeah,
start doing sourcing. Once
correct.
sourcing is done, we try to start with the interview scheduling or screening, right? Then interview scheduling, then offering this candidate, then probably the negotiation and other things and all those things, right? So if you see in every phase now, AI is already introduced.
Correct.
If you talk about job description, AI can write better job description than any other people can do, right? If you talk about sourcing, you already mentioned, right? LinkedIn have introduced AI in sourcing,
Yes.
or any other tools which might have helped, but not currently, but they are evolving, I would say, right? When sourcing. Then if you talk about screening candidates, there are AI which can talk to candidate just like you and me, and much with less time they can screen much more candidates, right? And if you talk about interview skilling, they can do better. So don't you think, right? We are telling that recruitment can't be replaceable, but already some or the other way it's taking place in some of the instances.
But yes, as I said, there is a need of a talent professional to be in the organizations because a business cannot interact with the AI tool where he can interact with the uh, recruiter, and recruiter directly interacts with the candidate and AI. There are a lot of instances where we can still have our domination on that tool, but at the same time, as I said, there is no possibility of getting escape from AI's domination on certain areas. We can't have that control, but at the same time we can also compete. That's an opportunity for us to compete with that, become better, and we never know if there is a uh, you know just like CrowdStrike, if there is something happening with the technology in AI, and then you got
Yeah,
to be there.
yeah.
So
Then Delta can claim some 500 million and other things because of
yeah,
CrowdStrike to Microsoft, right?
yeah, yeah.
Great.
So nobody would have ever imagined that there will be a CrowdStrike, and then the world
Yeah, yeah,
went on
yeah.
stagnant for some time, and it worried, right? I mean, the toppest organization
That's
of the
true.
world
That's true.
worried, and was there was a panic button.
That's true. And if you have seen in those 2 days, many airport planes were
Yes,
cancelled, many
yes,
places bank
yes,
systems were down and all those things. And many people in LinkedIn have posted their that airport pass and all, which
correct,
is handwritten and other things.
correct. Handwritten,
So
yeah.
it was crazy.
So I mean, who would imagine that we would see this day in this era? But yeah, I think that's how it is. But
Great.
bottom line is, Praful, I think we should just adapt to new technologies, and you should just keep moving. But at the same time, you should have that right attitude. Again, let's not get into any negative thoughts or get into too much of stress looking at it. But be very optimistic on your skills, improving your knowledge, enhancing your skills, and then move on.
Okay. Sure. So now there was like last week we had some discussion in one of the uh, recruitment groups and all, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
uh, there were one conversation which came up like the ghosting, right? So
Oh yeah,
yeah, so there are candidates talking about recruiters that recruiters are ghosting sometimes. There are recruiters who talk about candidate ghosting about some of the jobs and opportunities and doesn't respond to the recruiters, right? So what do you think, like, why does a recruiter need to ghost a candidate, or why does a candidate ghost a recruiter?
the common challenge that I have observed, or my opinion is not having a clear communication, or maybe there is a dots to be connected in their communication levels, right? Be it recruiter or a candidate are not that effective in terms of being transparent, being honest, or being genuine, right? Be honest, be transparent. I always say recruiters, or even if I was a recruiter, I don't hesitate saying, boss, you failed in the interview. And then at the same time, I'll again spend some more time saying where, right? It's not just you failed is not a statement to be given. And I was there were n number of instances where I had spent at least 30 minutes post his interview, 30 minutes before interview and 30 minutes after interview, and helping him understand what is the business looking, what are the key things that they want, what is the rating that the candidate has to meet, right? So there are a lot of other parameters. You need not tell him what he scored, but help him understand that there are certain parameters where he has to scale up himself to meet that parameter. And he's almost there, but he's not there. So could be the recruiter, and vice versa. So it is all about having a clear and fair communication. Spending time with candidate is most important time, and that is one of the strength that I have. I can spend quality time with candidates. There were days where I spent over an hour with talking to a candidate, basis the job description, went on to understand from a 360-degree point of view what he's, who he's, how can he fit the organization, and I, as I said, I have made good friends with the candidates, right? They've become good friends to me now. So help candidate, help recruiter. So it's both ways, and for that
That's true.
we need to spend quality time. We need to ensure that you're not in a hurry when you're talking to a candidate. Let's not close calls in a hurry. If you have to close the call, take some other time. There's no problem, right? And that's what I strongly believe, Praful. I think that will make
Sure, sure,
life
sure.
very easy.
Thank you. And I believe that's a great piece of advice, right? Because, like, if you are hurry for something, you will not focus on what are the detailed conversation you had, right? And
Exactly.
because of that, there can be a communication gap, which
Yeah.
might lead to misunderstanding, and because of which the ghosting problem arises,
Yeah,
right?
very true. And from a candidate standpoint, you as a recruiter, we need to understand that there is desperation, there is anxiety, there is curiosity, and he might be going through his tough phase of career sometimes, the laid off candidates especially. So you need to have that compassion. You need to carry empathy in spending time. You need to understand. You need to dive a little more, right? Let's not just cut the call abruptly or give him that feel good factor that he has got brilliant recruiter to talk with. At the end, he should just remember Kiran Chilasagaram name for next 3 4 years. That's what I would aim for. Any candidate that I'm talking, I would ensure that I'm creating creating an impact over the call. Try spending some great time, and you need not make him a friend, but add to your network. He will be your net worth in future.
Sure, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. I think we are almost on a time, but I have just couple of questions. So you have been in the recruitment industry for almost like 16, 17 years now, right?
Yes.
So you have seen uh, being in IC, right? The journey. You have seen the role as a manager or as a leader as well, right? So
Yes.
what kind of challenges does a manager or a leader face, right? How he or she can motivate his or her team in a right way so that they can perform much better.
So for me, the biggest quality that the leader should have is to ensure that he believes in them. And whomever I work with, I strongly believe in them. I give ample time, and I never ever I can say that you have failed. Uh, a person should have that self realization that I have failed. We should not say that you have failed. It should come from inner side that yes, I have failed, and there is no possibility that we will always see success every time, anytime, everywhere, right? So you got to have that trust. So as a leader, what I always believe is that you got to gain your team's trust first, right? For that, you got to have good understanding, spend some good time whenever you're again this applies the same, have better conversations. uh, let's not hurry, let's not close, let's not let here we got to listen to them and we got to understand, and we just have to see what we could do if we were in their shoe. So I always see that if I were in their shoe, what would be my thought process, and we brainstorm. So I think we should never ever ensure that we know we are the subject matter experts and the other person is still trying to learn. No, it's about have a brainstorming session. That's what I also expect from my managers. I used to abruptly say that let's have a brainstorm session or understand where things went wrong so that I can become better, right? So there were many people who have helped me, and there were very uh, few people who didn't like to help the team, and uh, they were more of an authoritative leaders, and I don't like that quality. You just have to have that more of a democratic quality, right? You
Yeah,
can't be
yeah,
authoritative, and uh, when you are authoritative, it's done. It's well said and done that you know everything. You're claiming as if you know everything, but we never know. We don't know anything. That's the fact. So I always ensure that I believe in people and I gain people's team's trust, and I keep working on it. And I would say that I'm there for you. You can just lean on me when you're in trouble, and then see, we'll sit and figure out. Even if my team is struggling on it, I wouldn't mind spending time on finding some better sourcing techniques, or how do we spend quality time on LinkedIn, or maybe I would get some resumes from my network and help them offline and give credit to them.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because
ensuring
like
that they're not losing their confidence, I would just do
that's
that.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
And as a leader, that trust factor is definitely important between
Yes.
you and your team, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you lose that trust, it's gone, right? You can never regain those trust from your team members.
So true. Yeah.
Great. So thank you so much, Kiran. So before we wind up, just
Yes.
wanted to understand one last advice you have for the recruiters and why someone should join a community, right? Since you were a 15, 16, 17-year person, right, with so much of experience, why do you go and do a networking, attend a networking event, right? Or an HR community event? Like what's there for you, right? Why it is important?
I'll also tell you an interesting fact about having great network. Signity happened to me just because of this networking. The head of talent, we met a couple of times. We had good time. He's one of the greatest leader that I've ever worked, and we connected so well that he picked me for his role. And it just happened within few hours that I spoke to him and said, I'm looking for a role. That's one of the, I'm just taking this as an example for networking, and I do have a lot of leaders that I'm connected with who can spend time for me. If I have some query, if I'm stuck somewhere, I don't hesitate talking to them now. As I said, you need not feel that we know everything. We should be able to feel that we can learn something out of it, and you can only learn from people, from the tools. If tools are boring, you can talk to people. If people are boring, get tools. So vice versa, keep learning, but networking is very important. You either network or meet up, do some activities where you can meet, develop your network. As I said, network is net worth. Improve, increase your network, have constant touch with few folks. If you have ever worked on any niche technology and you got a friend there, talk to him, spend some time, meet him, call him for a meetup, or the meeting is very important. So it gives you some takeaway. At the end, bottom line is network gives you good connections. You have good chances to learn, and at the same time, it empowers you individually. It creates
Sure.
personal brand dominance as well. So
Yeah.
that's more important.
Great. Thank you so much, Kiran.
Thanks, Praful.
Just to wind up, uh,
Yeah.
we I was really happy that you spoke about failure without any hesitation, and which have helped me to open up as well. And I was able to talk in front
Great.
of you about my seventh class failure incident as well. And second thing, which you also talked about attitude, you look for anyone in the person, right?
Yes.
Which is definitely a great point to learn. And
Yeah.
last thing, which I was very much interested was uh, the reason why you love to network and how it can create you a huge value in your life or overall in your learning system, right? With
Yes.
this, thank you, Kiran, and happy to have you in your podcast. And it was a great discussion, and looking forward for more such discussion with I am Recruiter.
Definitely, Praful. And once again, I would like to congratulate you on taking this initiative. And I think from the day that we are connected, I think we are part of multiple groups, as said. Lot of informative sessions, informative messages that we exchange. And again, this is the power of network, right? We keep learning a lot of things. We get connected with new people, and I already have some friends in that group already who I was connected. So we have reconnected again. So keep the same work continue, and I wish you great luck. And meet your dream.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Kiran. Bye bye. Take
Yep.
care.
Thanks.